All right, we are live. Welcome to another interview on my YouTube live series. So, my intention for these is to honestly just have like a really fun and inspiring conversation with other online business owners, entrepreneurs in the space, and kind of just give some insights, some wisdom that we've learned kind of along this journey. And the whole point is to help you create a business that feels good for you, because there's so many different ways to create a business. And so that's why I kind of like highlighting different people doing different things so that we can get some inspiration, we can get some expert knowledge here. Really quick, if you're watching us live, you can go ahead and comment. We can see the comments. I'm going to try to like be better at showing the comments on screen, because I could do that too, like this. So like Andy came on earlier and gave me a comment that I could play with. So I'm going to try to be better at that. So if you guys are commenting, if you're watching live, definitely comment so I can get better at showing comments on the screen. And then give this video a really quick thumbs up. Truly, the thumbs up does help the YouTube algorithm show my videos to more people and all of that fun stuff. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications. I have videos for tutorials. I'm doing YouTube lives all the time. We definitely want to be notified of these videos coming out. So today's topic is going to be about combining your human and AI to create better content faster. So me and my guest, Ryan Robinson, we're going to talk about content marketing strategies that actually work, how to use AI in a way that feels productive yet human, because we do need both, along with what actually makes a good piece of content. We're going to dive into some tips, some tricks, and probably some stories along the way, just because that's kind of how me and Ryan roll. Okay, so before we get into the interview, I do want to let you know about the sponsor of this video. It's the AI tool that Ryan co-founded, and honestly, I feel like it's just it's the perfect tool to sponsor this video. So the tool is WriteBlogger. It's the AI tool for bloggers, created for bloggers by bloggers. I like that line. So let me just show you this real quick. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So this is WriteBlogger here. And the cool thing about it is that you don't have to worry about prompting. Okay, so like ChatGPT, stuff like that, you have to prompt back and forth. Ryan and his co-founder, Andy, created this amazing tool where it gives you like things that you can go ahead and put in, and then it generates with AI on the back end, and they like create little tools to do specific things. It just makes AI like way easier. And so you can go to writeblogger.com/Mariah. And then if you create a free account, you get access to, I don't know if it's all the tools. Ryan can correct me on this, but I know that it's a bunch of tools. You get to test them out for free just by creating a free account. So like, look at all these things. All of these things are very specific tools that obviously help you do specific things. But the cool thing is that like, you don't have to prompt AI, like I said. So it has like boxes for your topic and keyword, your tone and writing style, language, and then it generates. Okay. So it's really cool. Definitely check it out. Like I said, you can go over to writeblogger.com/Mariah. But that is enough about WriteBlogger, and I'm sure that we will talk about that. But let's bring Ryan on here. He is currently backstage. Let's bring him on to the live stream.
Hey,
what's up?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks
I'm
so
pumped
much
for this.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. So, as you know, because you were backstage as I was talking, I literally didn't give your background at all. So, like, do you just want to catch people up? Like, what do you do? How do you support people? Like, who is Ryan right now?
You know, Ryan is many things, but man with a keyboard is a great way to put it. You said OG blogger, which thank you, is very humbling. Yeah, I've been doing this blogging thing for, oh man, you know, off and on, different stages, different phases for like 14 years, really. But today, who I am?
I said 10 in my email to my newsletter subscribers. So I said 10
Yeah.
plus, and I'm glad that I added the plus because apparently it's 14. That's like,
Well, it counts. Like, do we
life.
count a Tumblr blog? Do we just count a WordPress blog?
That's
Like,
fair.
how far do we go back?
That's
So,
fair.
Yeah, I've been doing the blogging thing for a long time. So at ryrob.com, that's kind of my home base, where I reach anywhere between 200, 500K monthly readers, kind of depending on seasonality. But yeah, today I'm the head of content at close.com, also CRM for sales people. And that's been like my day job for the last year and a half or so. And I get to work with a massive library of content there, like 2,000 articles, 1,500 YouTube videos. So the scale that I get to play with content there is completely different than on my blog. And then of course, Write Blogger. That's my passion project that I do with Andy, who's in the comments too. So Write Blogger is our AI tool built by bloggers for bloggers. So we kind of spent last year playing with these AI tools that were starting to come out, and we were like, a lot of these kind of suck, or they don't just do exactly what we want them to do as a blogger, right?
Or they're
And
super overwhelming. That's the thing. It's like I have to become a
yeah,
prompt engineer in order to use AI. Like what?
right. And you have most of these AI tools that are like geared towards bloggers, small business owners, content creators. They're created by like tech people or developers or like,
Mm.
I don't know, investors, people who are like chasing an opportunity versus Andy and I collectively, we've been blogging for like 25 years, maybe close to 30. He was super early. And so we have this really deep knowledge of like, okay, how would we actually use tools like this? So we're able to kind of throw away a lot of the BS and just focus on making these kinds of things actually useful. And yeah, working with our customers too. Like we take so many ideas for tools and tweaks to make to the tools. So those are the kinds of things that I think make a tool like an AI platform actually useful to real people.
Yeah, and I will stand by that. I have slid into Ryan and Andy's email like 17 times trying to get them to put my suggestions in the tool. And I'm not going to lie, the one time Andy messaged back and he was like, I think it was like 2 days later, he was like, okay, cool, it's live. And I was like, wait, like you actually listen to your customers? Like, that's amazing. So yeah, I will say
I
you
think
guys
it
take
was
it seriously.
the YouTube video to blog post tool, right? Like
It
that
was
was one of
that,
your.
and it was something else. It was something else where Andy just did it. And I was like, you're incredible. I love this tool. Like the tool itself is extremely helpful. And then also like the customer service and just like being able to, I guess, like be a part of a tool being built. Since AI is such on like the forefront of things, I think that it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, you were also the reason that we made the tool like free for a preview. So anyone can create a free account and like try each tool once a week, I think is kind of the limit right now. But you were the reason why. You were like,
Oh,
yo,
thanks.
people will like this. Like let
Yes.
them try it for free. And you wore us down basically. So thank you and you're welcome.
Well, cool. That's awesome. I am definitely a Right Blogger influencer. So hello, here I am, rightblogger.com/Mariah. Okay, so can we start off with the basics here? I know that we're gonna dive into content, the nitty-gritty, some tips and stuff along the way, but can we just like pull back a little bit and start off with the basics? Like, what is content marketing strategy? I feel like it's such a it kind of sounds like a corporate term, and I mean, like, me coming into the online business world, I've never really worked a corporate job, and I feel like content marketing strategy sounds intense, but, like, I naturally do it because it's creating content, so can you just, like, break down, like, what does it actually mean?
Yeah, I think this is one of those things that especially anyone who's worked in marketing and then goes to, starting your own business, starting your own blog, whatever it is, like it's easy for the idea, the thought of what a content marketing strategy is or can be to just spiral out of control and to go down a million different rabbit holes of what this thing could be, all these different ways you could execute on it. But at its core, like really just stripping away everything else, a content marketing strategy is how you bring yourself into your content and how you distribute that content using your skills, your experience, and what gives you energy. Those are the three things to deliver it to the world. So if you absolutely hate doing video, then you should not bang your head against the wall trying to do video today. Maybe it's something you experiment with and try and get comfortable with, but there are tons of other ways to produce content, different formats, right? Like
Mhm.
SEO, long form content, and different ways to promote it. So you can be active in Facebook groups. You can answer questions on Quora. The list is kind of endless. So a content marketing strategy is something that, if you allow it, can be absolutely everything. But I try and really just refine it down to how I'm creating content and where I'm pushing it out in ways that feel good and engage experience, strength, relationships, things like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's really helpful. And bringing through just like there's different forms of content. Like a podcast could be content, video can be content. We're going to really focus on written content during this live because otherwise we would probably be here for 75 years. But in terms of a content marketing strategy, in terms of creating content, like especially a lot of my viewers are small business owners, solopreneurs, e-commerce shops, like how can they start thinking about this? Like, where do they start? They're just like, you know what? I know that obviously if I want to get more sales to my store, more people signing up for my services and consulting and stuff like that, like how do we start thinking about creating a strategy for our content?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, like coming back to that piece of how do you want to create content? So making that decision for yourself, like time is limited, right? Not all of us have all day, every day to just sit in a room and record audio, shoot video, write articles, promote on social media. So
Yeah.
coming up with that super short list, and I mean like one, maybe two, depending on how much time you have, different mediums to sample with for content. And so honing in on that written content, which is my specialty as well, thinking about it from the perspective of what do you want to create? What do you want to teach? How do you want to influence and help people? And pair that with what people want to learn about and what they could learn about from you. So this little bit is like your skills, your experience, your personal interests, and then pair that together with how you can actually help real people on something that's meaningful in their lives. So that's the idea generation bit. We can also talk about how AI tools like Write Blogger can help spin up ideas for you. But often I find the best ideas or the best seeds for ideas come from within, and then tools help you refine.
Yeah, that's a really good segue. Let's talk about, because this whole thing is like using AI to make better content faster. So like if we kickstart from like the beginning of the process, and I do think that it's good before you jump into an AI tool. Okay, so I don't know why I tend to hold pens when I'm going live. I like need something in my hand. Okay. So I think it's important to kind of come back to like, what do you give a crap about? Like, what do you actually care about? Because within your content, like there's obviously the written text, the written form, but underneath that is like the energy that you bring to it. So if you don't care about what you're writing, that will come through in your content. But also the flip side, if you care about what you're writing, that will also come through in the content. So like people watching me on YouTube or on live stream or like reading my content on my blog, you can tell that I literally breathe this stuff. But you can also tell when people don't care. So I think that that's super important. We could, and we will go to an AI tool and like be able to generate and brainstorm some ideas. But I think that like the very first thing is like, what do you care about? And then if you're looking for that content to drive sales, you have to connect what you care about to what your audience cares about. Because it's not just like what you care about, like blogging, like what you ate for breakfast. That's like, that could be something that you do if you really want to, but like, that's not going to drive the sales. So like, we have to like find one that combines both of them. I think that that's really important. So in terms of using AI to generate content ideas, do you want me to share my screen and we'll do the content?
Ooh, let's do it.
Which one is it? Which tool is it? Article writer, post ideas. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Okay, cool. So give me a post idea to generate.
Ooh. Okay, so one of my many side projects is a hiking blog, right? And I'm in Colorado right now. So let's say like hiking in Colorado, hikes in Colorado, something like
Hiking in Colorado. Yo, my spelling, LOL, is like hilarious. So I'm glad that I got it right. And then we can go ahead and put in I don't know. Let's just do excited because I'm feeling excited. So then this AI tool generates post ideas, and this looks like full on like post titles too, which is pretty sick. So like 10 must visit hidden gems for hiking in Colorado, beginner guide from mountains to waterfalls,
And
hiking
it
with
looks like
kids.
excited means it's just going to throw an exclamation point at the end.
I'm glad that it's only one exclamation point and not like 17, like solo hiking in Colorado, exclamation point. Embrace the
Oh,
solitude, exclamation point, and discover the beauty of wilderness, exclamation point. So I'm glad, I'm glad that it's just one. So yeah, all of these are really great. And like what I like is like you can just go ahead and click copy, you can paste it into a Google Doc, and then you can come back up here and like retype in a different keyword. So you're just like, okay, yeah, that one's cool, but like, you know what? I really want to talk about hiking gear. Oh, are we
yeah.
typing here?
Like hit the edit and run again button.
Edit and run again.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so hiking gear, and
And
then
it'll always save those results too, just below the field there.
oh yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? That's why we have the co-founder on here. So yeah, hiking in
That's it.
Colorado, you can go ahead and view those. I'm going to change the tone to authoritative and see if we have any exclamation points.
Nice.
And we don't. Exclamation points get removed. How great. So
I love this.
okay, so this is just a really easy way to be able to use AI in order to generate some blog post ideas. And honestly, even if you don't want to use WriteBlogger, you can just hop over to ChatGPT, the free version, and you can basically just prompt it and be like, hey, I have a blog or I have a website or I have a business. So like mine could be like, I'm an SEO strategist that helps online business owners get found on Google. Do you have like, please generate a list of blog post ideas for me. So you don't have to use WriteBlogger. We're just using it because it's a tool that both of us use. You can absolutely use ChatGPT. So I think using it to generate ideas, literally like just from 2 searches, we probably got enough ideas to last, 6 months, maybe even a year if you do 1 blog post a month, which some of my clients, like they don't really have time to create much more than that. So it's like from 2 searches, you literally got enough blog posts for a year.
Yeah. And like, come use this stuff for free. Like literally try it. See if it feels right for you. That's what I always tell people. Like there's never any pressure to buy something. Even before we had the free accounts, like our refund policy is literally hit us up anytime. If this isn't for you, of course, we're going to refund you and cancel your account. Like we don't want anyone to have tools that they're paying for that they don't actually use ever. So that's how we come from this stuff. And like, you know, something also to note on the tool front, we are connecting all the tools really well too. So when you generate blog post ideas, there's next to the copy button, when you hover on one, there's a little tools thing that pops up. So you can like one click, bring that over one of those results you like. You can bring that over to like
okay, cool.
generate an article.
Generate post title. Okay, sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, the same thing, like with AI, you can see how we can create content faster, literally just by looking at these. So you can, what would be sick, Andy, if you're watching this, if it popped up right here and created like the post outline, that would be pretty sick. That tool right here. But basically like you can go ahead and copy that and then hop over here to a post outline, paste that in there. If you want other keywords to go ahead and be added to that professional generate. So yeah, and then it generates like an introduction for you. The bullet points for it, and then bullet points for each section. So there's ways to use AI to speed up this process. So to be honest, when I'm using AI, basically I have a hard time using AI and like having it generate either like a full post or like even just like a full paragraph without me wanting to like completely tear it apart, because to me it always sounds generic. You know what I mean? And like if you read my writing, if you read my blog posts, if you read my email newsletters, it sounds exactly like I talk. And I even tried to use like ChatGPT to write an email newsletter, and it was like, we're going to supercharge your something. And I was like, oh, dude, like I just don't talk like that. And so I think that there's an important piece here with using AI. As you saw, it literally generated a post outline in seconds. And so there's other tools in WriteBlogger or with ChatGPT where you can generate a full paragraph. You can generate like each paragraph separately, each section of the blog post, each section of content. You can have it generate a full article for you. But how do we start infusing our human into that? Can you kind of like take us through that? Like what's your perspective?
This is like my favorite topic because AI doesn't care,
Oh,
right?
hold
AI
on,
doesn't
wrong person.
care.
There we go. Okay.
AI doesn't care the way that you care. AI is not you. And no matter like, so we're working on a feature called My Tone inside of Write Blogger, where you can input your blog URL and Write Blogger is going to learn based on what your writing style is. So our newsletter tool inside of Write Blogger, that's something you'll have to try out again, Mariah, once we launch My Tone, because it will learn on your writing style. But
so it's actually
still,
picking up, like it's scraping the content on my actual thing. Cause I know that's something that ChatGPT doesn't do. It doesn't like scrape a URL, but Bard does that. So Write Blogger is actually going to do that.
Yeah, it'll use your RSS feed to basically, kind of hyper read a few of your blog posts and be like, oh, here's Mariah's style. Let's save that. It can also learn. So as you post new content, you can refresh the feed and it'll just like basically keep up with changes to how you write over time. But this is like even something like that. That is not like a substitute for you because no matter how much AI learns from things that you put on a page, it's never actually you. It's not going to feel the way you feel. And that is like your actual superpower as a person, as a human, and especially when we're talking about using AI tools, because, we're seeing AI content explode right now, and more publishers, websites, bloggers, companies are going from like prompt to publish. They're just running something, they're copying, they're pasting, they're publishing. And I know where that's going. That is like just going to be this circle of AI learning from AI, and content slowly just gets more
because
boring,
AI learns from
generic.
the content that's out there.
Exactly. And so your superpower, like what you're going to be amazing at, what I am going to be great at, what everyone listening here today has the opportunity to do, is to actually pair who I am inside with these AI tools that can take the boring stuff off our plate. And so what you like to use these tools for, generating things like outlines, that is exactly like, that is my favorite use case too. Like, go out, do the boring stuff like generating an outline, figuring out, okay, here are the main points you gotta cover on this topic in order for it to be useful to people and indexed by search engines. That's essentially what these tools tell you. So it gives you guidelines, but then it kicks it over to you. And that's why I love this so much. It's like, it takes the crap off my plate and it allows me to be more creative with my content creation process. Like I get to put more of me into it because I'm not thinking about what should the outline be. I'm getting an outline told to me.
Yep, for sure. Well, LaShonda, we are so glad that you caught this live too. So hello. But also I want to add to that, like, that's it, right? Like that's the juice. That's how we not only stand out from like other AI generated content and all of that stuff. It's how we stand out from other people in our industry. It's how we stand out from other people in our niche. It's how we also express ourselves. If we're content marketing for our business, then the people that we want to attract are the people that are going to, I don't know, like us, get along with us, jive with us. And so like, how do they feel that when they've never met us before, when they're finding us on YouTube, when they're finding us on Instagram, when they're finding us from SEO, how can they feel that? It's from you being able to infuse your perspective into your content. And I think that that's so important because I've heard the same thing. Like, and this is my issue on kind of like why I haven't been able to be like, hey, everybody, use AI for SEO. Because I don't want people thinking that that then takes all of the work off of your plate for creating content. No, you cannot even just use Write Blogger, ChatGPT. No, you cannot just have it generate an article and then you copy and paste and publish it on your website and expect to get on page one. I'm sorry, but that's not it. It's not it. And I think Google is going to crack down even more on like different perspectives. And also they released an update where it's like they care even more about your expertise, about your authority, and about your experience. So it's like we can use AI, but like as your assistant, as a tool to help speed up the process, to help speed up brainstorming, to help speed up the outline. I actually used it in creating like a list of questions for this interview. Like you can use it to go ahead and to help you, because I was like, wait a minute, am I missing something here? Are there other questions I could ask? And so I think that it's just so important to remember that like it's not just about AI. It's about combining the balance of both of them. We need your human. Your human is the thing that I'm paying for if I choose to work with you, if you're a service provider. Or like if you sell candles, so many businesses sell candles, but like I'm going to choose to buy from you because I care about your business. How do you get that across? Infusing your perspective into this stuff. I think that it's so important.
And if someone lands on even like, let's say a landing page or a collection page of all the candles you sell on your website, and you have like just some AI generated content on there that talks about, you know, what candles are and why people should buy candles. Like as a human landing on that, I'm going to land there and I'm going to know immediately, did a real person who genuinely cares about candles and making candles and the role that candles can have in someone's life write this content? Or is this something that's just spun out of an AI tool straight up? Now, there's nothing wrong with using AI to do first drafts. Like I still experiment with that, like using the article writer even, or shorter stuff using the paragraph writer inside WriteBlogger to generate first drafts of how I want to write things. And I think where this stuff gets especially useful is I do a lot of listicles on my site where I describe different tools, different companies, you know, the 100 best blogging courses, things like that, to where I don't actually want to write 100 descriptions about blogging courses myself.
What do you mean you don't?
I personally don't. So that is a task that I will give to WriteBlogger to generate the first drafts of. And then, of course, like I'll swing through and I'll talk about like, and here's why this course is great, because I know the person who makes it and like he pours his heart and soul into this. And so that's where you can really leverage these things to never replace you or your content, but to speed up the process. That's really what this is all about.
I feel like you read my mind because I was going to say, hey, Ryan, pull back the curtain. Let us know how you use AI in your process. But you kind of already did that. So I want to go into the next section here that I feel like we might end up spending the rest of our time on. What makes good content? Because the whole thing of like this live is like to create better content faster. How do we create good content? What is good content?
The best answer that I can give to that is you know it when you feel it. So when you land on a blog post, whether it's Mariah's blog post, mine, or something of your own, even like really use this filter on your own blog post. Just like sit there for like 10 seconds, read the intro, start just scanning it a little bit, and really feel inside yourself, is this great content? And you'll know the answer to that. So SEO magicry aside, there's just a feeling component that is way more important to me when it comes to like, what is great content? And just a little example here, like we, you know, at close, we have like 2,000 blog posts. Today, we're redirecting like 300 of them. We're wiping out 300 articles because they're not helpful. They're not good. They're thin. They don't provide the absolute best answer for the topic at hand. And we'd rather just ditch those. Some of them we're going to update. Some of them we'll publish new stuff to compensate for. But when you just know in your core, if you land on something, is this good? Like really feel that and trust your instinct about it too. Don't try and like trick yourself into, well, you know, I spent 5 hours on this, so it has to be good. That doesn't make it good necessarily. So I like to think about this from more of the feel perspective first, and then you can get into more of the tactical stuff, but looking at a Google search, seeing, okay, yes, are you meeting the real intent of what someone has when they are searching for answers or ideas, whatever it is that you are trying to provide to people? So matching intent and then knowing like in your heart, is this actually good? Did I put my best self into this content? That's the start.
Do you actually care about the topic? Yes,
Yeah.
I think that that's a really good starting point. And then, yeah, I tell clients all the time, it's like if we want to get on Google, especially if we start bringing SEO into this, which like, LOL, I just can't help myself. But it's like if we want to show up for a specific keyword on Google, we have to go to Google and we have to Google it. We have to see what is showing up on page 1 for that. And people talk about all the time. It's like, well, when we're doing SEO strategy, we have to look at the monthly volume. Like, how often are people searching for this? Yes, absolutely important. And then we have to look at how competitive it is to rank on Google. Yes, absolutely important. The other thing that you brought up that a lot of people don't talk about is what is the intent? How does Google see that keyword? So I've given this example literally a million times, but I'm going to give it again. So I had a client who was a public speaking coach, and she was like, I want to show up on page 1 for powerful speaker. We went to Google and Googled it. Car audio and stereo speakers showed up. And so I was like, no, we don't. We don't want to show up for this because like we're not going to, right? So I think we ended up targeting something like become a powerful speaker. It's a long tail keyword. It's like we know exactly kind of what the user is looking for when they're searching for that. So how do we get on page 1? We become the best solution to the problem. How do we become the best solution to the problem? By understanding the problem that the person has. Yeah. And so the other thing is like, if we didn't do that, she would have logged into her Google Search Console and she would have seen, I'm not showing up for my target keyword of powerful speaker. She would have been frustrated. Mariah, what we did, it didn't work. I didn't blah, 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 blah. It's like, you were never going to show up for that. So I think that that's like crucial. We have to look at the intent. We have to. So not only the intent of Google, of like, what kind of content is Google searching for, but also to piggyback off of what you said, like, what is going to be helpful for this person if somebody wants to become a public speaker? What content is going to be helpful? So open up the tabs that are showing up on page 1, not to copy them, but to use them as inspiration. Because if we want to show up on page 1 with them, we have to be comparable to them, not the same, because we have different perspective, we have different experience, we have just like a different life to bring into this, a different tone. So not copying, but being able to be like, okay, if somebody clicked on my thing, just like you said, bringing in the feeling, like, will they feel like I understand what their problem is? And then I'm giving good solutions for that. And I know that it's kind of like a lot to juggle. You're just like, oh my God, now I got to do this and this and this. But like, I think that's really what does make good content.
I think something super underrated here too, and you inspired me talking about the powerful speaker example, because a lot of people are searching for something that they want, that they think they need, and giving people what they want as the kind of enticing bit from a Google search perspective, and then on the page, giving them what they actually need is a super underrated tactic that I try and infuse into all of my content. So, you know, someone searching for, I would like go back and like try and rank for become a good speaker, like become good speaker. Like, I don't know how many people are searching for powerful speaker, even though that's the way that this person wants to position themselves and how they like coach and teach people. But giving people what they think they want in terms of like, you know, an article about 10 ways to become a better speaker or to become a good speaker, something like that. But then instead, in the actual content itself, you are infusing yourself and your life's experience and everything that you do want to teach to people. So it's an interesting needle to thread, and it's so like case specific that it's hard to give too many examples, I guess. But that I think is a really useful way to think about your content, especially if you're an expert at what you do. You've done it for a long time. You know, like these are the mistakes you got to avoid. You can help guide people that way.
Yeah, for sure. And I love your perspective because you have the perspective of like a solo blogger that creates content like on a smaller scale just for like your website. But then you also, like you said in the intro, have a perspective of being in like a huge database of content for clothes. So if we take it back to that example, like you said, thin content, like, can you just tell me like what, when you were looking at content that was and wasn't performing, A, how do you know if it was or wasn't performing? And then like, I guess like, how did you make decisions to either get rid of it or bulk it up?
Ooh, this is such a good question. So when you have a large content library and they've been making content since like, oh my gosh, 2012, 2013. So there's a long history of analytics. So we were able to filter basically like what pages, what posts on our site have gotten less than 50 views in the last year. And for us, that was a good metric. Maybe, if your blog, your website gets significantly less traffic than something like maybe something that gets less than 10 views in a year, less than 5 views in the year is kind of the starting point to basically add it to a list. And then from there, that begins the more qualitative approach. So we didn't just immediately throw away everything that got less than 50 views a year. That would be crazy.
Detrimental to your SEO. Google would be
Yes.
like, wait a minute, I thought you were an expert in this. You were on page 9, but like now you're not even, you don't even talk about it.
Right. That's not a good idea to do. Like, you want to actually line by line. And so we line by line reviewed all the, I think it was a list of like 350 that we were evaluating. And then eventually we redirected about 280 out of that crew. And so, there's 60, 70 there that we decided to either leave as is. So some of them were like pivotal stories of the company's origin. And so there's the feel good stuff that we're like,
Okay.
that's not going to rank ever for anything, but we'll leave that there. And, you can get into things like considering crawl budget. So if you have thousands of pages on your site, then you do want to be really rigorous about what you're allowing to be in Google's index, because they have a limited amount of space that they want to allocate to ranking content on sites.
And Google doesn't know
yeah,
what you want to prioritize. If you have
right.
thousands of pages, Google is like, girl, we are not putting all
Yeah.
of these pages like in Google's index. So like, if you're not going to prioritize, I will prioritize.
Yeah. They'll choose for you, which is
Yes.
not ideal. You want to be the one choosing. So that's kind of what we're doing. And also like the qualitative piece. So out of those 70 or so that we decided to keep, about half of them are going to get updates. So they were on topics that we decided, oh, this is actually a great topic. Like, this is good for topical authority for us. This is good for potential traffic. So using keyword research tools to check it out and see. So we have a keyword research tool inside WriteBlogger, by the way, which I love to use, and seeing, all right, so a couple thousand people a month do search for this term. This post is just 5 years old and it's short. It isn't relevant anymore to how sales is done in 2023 versus in 2017. And so really taking actual time to give it a qualitative analysis and feel your way into, all right, so this post is worthy of an update. That'll go into our update queue versus just redirecting it.
What do you mean redirecting? Like,
ooh, yeah.
Like 301 redirecting, like, okay, we're getting rid of this old post. We got to like point and redirect that old post to a new post. But like, where are you redirecting it to? Your homepage, a different blog post? Like, what does that look like?
That is also a part of the line by line qualitative analysis bit. Like, there is no shortcut to this. I think if you were to just 301 redirect all of them to the blog homepage or something like that, that would be kind of a waste. Like, the ideal scenario is,
I don't think
all
Google
right,
likes that either. I think Google is like,
yeah.
I feel like you're doing something fishy.
Yes. Yes. So taking the time to actually go through and say, okay, this old feature update about SMS in a CRM is, 6 years old. It's never going to get traffic. It's not even relevant anymore because the product's evolved. Let's redirect that page, that blog post update, to the help desk page on like SMS for CRMs, or
Okay.
to our product page on SMS. And so really, like, some of them were blog posts that, there was some not duplicate content, but cannibalization going on where, over the course of 10 years and 2,000 blog posts, people forget, oh, we have an article on sales tips already. And so there's 4 articles on different types of sales tips, right? And so consolidating that stuff, wiping out 3 of them and redirecting the 3 that were the most thin, or the ones that, looking at how much traffic they were getting, Google wasn't prioritizing them. And
Yeah.
one of the 4 is getting a lot of traffic. So pointing those 3 that Google has already identified as these ones are not the one, to the one that is the one, is the move, because you're also passing like backlinks that some of these old articles have to the article that does kind of serve as our pillar on the topic.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for explaining that. I think that's really helpful just to be able to like visualize kind of how all of this happens, especially at a bigger scale, because like my clients don't have that many blog posts. Like a lot of my clients are like, do I have to blog? And I'm like, we're going to look at some keywords. We're going to get you amped up about the gaps in the market. And then if you want to create blog posts, it's an amazing way to be able to show up on Google for more keywords. But you bring up a good point where it's like, if you have 5 blog posts on sales tips, not all of them are going to show up on Google, let alone on page 1. So YouTube
And
and
they
Google,
shouldn't.
yeah, and YouTube and Google are different like that. So in YouTube search, you can have 4 videos showing up for the same keyword for the same topic. YouTube's like, yo, if you're the best, you're the best, whatever. Google is like, nah, you are not going to take up all of these options. They will only show 1. So that's why it's super important. Like, what is like your top dog? What's the one that you're like, yo, I feel the best about this one? And like, when I say like the best or like good content, what I mean is like, did this post, A, can you feel that you care about it? B, are you getting your expertise through in the content? And are you solving that person's problem in entirety where they don't read the post and then they have more questions? Like I read this post about Google Analytics 4 and it literally was like, and this is how you create a funnel. And then I'm reading it and it was like, and so you just create a funnel. So after you create a funnel, I was like, what? You didn't walk me through how to create a funnel. I was like this.
Well, you were just supposed to do it.
I was like, this is so confusing. What do you mean? And so it's situations like that where it's like, if you were showing this to the person that is searching for this, the person that doesn't have your expertise, the person that doesn't have your experience, would they be able to fully understand the concept?
Yeah.
And I think that is really, really important. So I think
you can develop any superpower as business owner, blogger, content creator, however you identify, it's putting yourself in the actual shoes of the people that you want to work with, sell to, engage with, and meeting them where they are today. Like that is really the big one, because everyone's at a different stage, right? So creating maybe the approach is like advanced sales tips, beginner sales tips, stuff like that. Like those are ways to differentiate content that do actually matter, I would say, in both in Google search, but especially on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And what I also liked about what you said, and I'm glad that you brought this up, is that like a lot of people think that the only way to show up on Google is to like create brand new content. And I don't know who's telling them this. They need to call me. Like, nah, dude. Like, we are not on a continuous hamster wheel of like creating new content all of the time. Here's the thing. Here's like a little trick. If you want to show up higher on Google, go back and update that content exactly like Ryan said. Google will then see as, you're not only an established expert about this topic, we not only already associate your website with this keyword, but now this is considered updated content. This is considered fresh content. So Google's like, now it's updated for 2023. I'm going to bump it from page 3 to page 1 because all the people on page 1 actually haven't updated in since 2022. So go and do that and then resubmit that URL in Google Search Console and have Google recrawl it because there is so much juice. I tell my clients, I was like, when we have blog posts, let's say we have 10 of them, every year we do not have to keep creating content. Like there was at one point, I didn't create content for a full year because I was burnt out. I was focusing on other stuff. What I did do is go back in and just update the content. I changed the publish date because I don't have my publish date in my URL, which is very important. So I went in and changed the publish date, and then I ended up staying on page 1 for rankings. It's just such an underutilized way to increase this stuff and to make your content better.
Yeah. I spend more time updating content now than I do publishing new content. And that again is about stages you're into. Like being as deep as I am into this, my content library, it just makes sense to spend more time updating than new. And also, I've said a lot of what I want to say about blogging in this lifetime already. And so it makes sense to come back and update stuff. But this is a beautiful thing to find the balance between new and updates and to like allow yourself to actually spend the time and look at your analytics every now and then too and see like, okay, in Google Analytics or whichever, tools you use to track your performance, is this, blog post that's a year old, is it rising in traffic? Is it steady? Is it declining? And so at close, where we have this massive library, we're doing this at scale. And so we use a lot of tools to like predict the kinds of directions that traffic can go in, see like, okay, let's get ahead of this one. It's starting to flatline. It's no longer growing. Maybe we should update it right now proactively so that it doesn't go downhill. So those are the things that change at scale, but it's all the same principle. It's basically for the topics that are important to you and your audience and how you bring people to your website. How are you delivering the best, most relevant, up-to-date advice, actionable stuff to those people? And that's why updating content is like by far the most underrated part of a content marketing strategy, by far.
Totally. And like Allie, she brings up, as a new blogger, I wrote new blog posts like crazy, which a lot of people do because you start from zero. Now you're trying to like build that momentum, always finding new ideas for blog posts, not giving any importance to link building or updating old content. Well, it's like now for the next maybe 3 months, go back in and start updating those pieces of content. Go into your Google Search Console. Where are you in rankings? Are you being associated with the keywords that you want? And then go back in and update that. And you know what? We can use AI. Go to AI and ask. You can use WriteBlogger, you can use whatever, and see if you can brainstorm some new ideas to freshen up this content. So I think that it's a beautiful thing that we can truly combine AI with our human in order to create really good content, in order to update content, all of that stuff. I think it's such a powerhouse. But we're going to wrap this baby up. If you were to leave the viewers with one piece of advice when it comes to using AI or creating content in general, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Don't lose yourself in the tools. The tools are literally tools. They're meant to help you. They're meant to take the boring stuff off your plate so that you actually have more time, more energy. That's the important part, more creative energy to be yourself, to be creative in your content creation process. And that is how I use these tools. I don't ever generate an article in WriteBlogger or ChatGPT and then press publish. No way. This is a game of injecting myself into my content and being able to do that at scale. So that's how these tools are able to help today.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So I've left the link to everything that Ryan has his hands in basically in the video description. So you can check out his blog, ryrob.com. You can definitely check out WriteBlogger. We kind of showed a whole bunch. Oh, not that screen. We want this one. Hello, WriteBlogger. So if you want to give this tool that we were using earlier in the video, or if you came on later, go ahead and watch the beginning. But basically, WriteBlogger, go to writeblogger.com/Mariah. And they just released where you can test out these tools for free. So before you even go ahead and pay for anything, create a free account, test out the tools. It's wildly helpful. It just makes AI so much simpler to be able to go ahead and use. Oh my gosh, there's so many tools. And like one of my favorites, YouTube video ideas, YouTube video titles, video descriptions. I use WriteBlogger for my video descriptions literally all of the time, all of the time. So if you're curious about this stuff, definitely please go and check out WriteBlogger. There's no pressure or anything. It's just the tool that Ryan has created with Andy, his co-founder, in order to make AI more accessible. We don't have to mess around with prompting. They make it super easy to go ahead and input things, to generate things, and all of that. So if you're interested in that, I left the link to WriteBlogger also in the video description below. But my friends, until next time, remember that you get to grow your online business in a way that feels good for you. Okay. So keep testing, keep tweaking, keep experimenting, and I will see you in the next interview. Bye.